The Kansas City Chiefs lose to the Philadelphia Eagles in a stunning fashion. Welcome to the Sports Bench with Greg and friends. As much as I have followed the Chiefs in the last number of years, I am totally amazed at how they lost the game. Now I'm giving credit to the Eagles. My goodness, what a game. They came in there, it seemed like they came in there pretty angry and ready to go. They had lots of energy where the Chiefs just didn't respond to it. They basically just got rolled over, actually steamrolled in this game. So I'd like to kind of go through some of the things with the game. First of all, the game plan that the Eagles had was absolutely fabulous. Their offense did the things that they needed to do, and I give credit to the Chiefs' defense. They kept them in the game for a while, you know what I mean, that they didn't fall behind by even more scores. If it wasn't for the turnovers that Patrick Mahomes had and a couple of other things going on, they wouldn't have had such a big lead. But basically, it was just a steamrolled game. I mean, it was absolutely, I want to say boring for me, but, you know, I was not going for the Eagles. I was going for the Chiefs, so I have to be fair and talk about that. But regardless, hats off to the Philadelphia Eagles, the world champions. You absolutely deserved it. You played the best game. And it was absolutely, like I say, the game plan and the way that all your players played, fabulous game. Now let's talk about the Chiefs. What did they do wrong? Well, I have a lot of opinions on that. First of all, they went in with a game plan, and after a number of 3-and-outs, I think they should have figured out at that point that, you know what, this isn't working. Keeping Mahomes in the pocket and the Philadelphia Eagles defensive pass rush, kind of boxing him in where he had basically no escape hatch, nowhere to go, was just brilliant. So, you know, why does it, in my opinion, coaching, why do you wait at all in making adjustments? I mean, do you wait all the way to halftime? Well, they were so far behind by halftime that it didn't really make much difference. But let's talk about that, all right? What could they have done, in my opinion? And I've listened to the talking heads and different various people that talking about what the Chiefs were doing and what went wrong and what the Chiefs did right. But when you look at this and think about it, keeping Mahomes in the pocket was the wrong thing to do. You know, I think if you watched the Baltimore Ravens against the Chiefs last year, in which the Ravens lost that game, Jackson managed to be able to get away from the Chiefs' pass rush, especially Jones rushing in from usually the strong side. And what he would do is just run away from him. You know, Lamar Jackson would see that here he comes from Jones. Here comes Jones from this direction. You go ahead and just roll over this way and have passing and blocking protection and throw the ball. And that's what I kind of think should have happened with the Chiefs. You know, it would have been really good if they just decided to roll him out this way, roll him out this way, you know, maybe bring in an extra lineman or a couple of tight ends. So when they're rolling, they've got more people to pick up those maybe blitzers that are going to be coming in trying to get Mahomes. But I think Mahomes would have had a little bit more time if he had rolled out because he would have been looking downfield. So, you know, the last 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, what were the Kansas City Chiefs doing? Were they just expecting that their weak offensive line, which has been jumbled up by putting Joe Thuney out in the left tackle position, which he doesn't play as well as he does as an all-pro guard, and then putting in a very basic guy as far as playing guard to take his position? No, it didn't work, and they should have seen that happening, especially in the first couple of times. So, you know, you have a weak offensive line. You have 4 defensive linemen with the Philadelphia Eagles, and they had so many pressures. I think it was something like 42 pressures, and they never blitzed anybody. Well, how does that happen? You know, they didn't blitz anybody, but their guys up front were putting so much pressure on Thuney, especially Thuney on the other side, that basically he was starting to have holes. People were starting to get past him and get to Mahomes. So they really boxed Mahomes in. So to me, the way you do that is you run away from that. You run out, you do a rollout left and right. Okay, you have enough blockers. Maybe Mahomes could have kept running instead of just roll out and maybe get some yards, maybe get 10 yards, pick up the first down. That was my thinking with this, but the Chiefs didn't do that. Now, Andy Reid, veteran coach, certain Hall of Famer, I think really believes in playing a basic game plan and just hope for the best, because there were no adjustments made. And as far as after that, Chiefs got better, but still there wasn't enough adjustments for things to happen. Here's the other thing I have to talk about. Andy Reid. Let's talk about coaching. All right. You were down 24-0 at halftime. All right. So every minute after halftime, you need to use well when you get the ball. I mean, I don't remember what the numbers are, but basically, time of possession, the Eagles were like, man, there was like double on top of what the Chiefs had. So basically, the Chiefs offense would come out 3 out and then go ahead, and the Eagles were back on the field, and they go for these long, sustained drives. And the defense got tired. I mean, the defense played really well, talking about the Chiefs. For a long time, they played well in that game. But when you have your defense on the field all the time and your offense is sitting on the bench, you are going to get tired. You're not going to be able to put the pressures on the other team like you can if you have the offense out there using the time wisely and being able to run and pass the ball and keep that defense so it can be rested to come back on the field and try to stop the Eagles. Didn't happen. Game planning. All right. So I remember watching the game. Was about 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and the Chiefs were going ahead, coming up to the line. First of all, they were running. They had the play call from the outside. You know, you have Mahomes, give me the play, give me the play. They give him the play. He walks over to the huddle, talks about the play. They break. They go up to the line. They use 30 seconds. Okay, they run the play. Doesn't go anywhere. All right, same thing. They go back. They huddle. They have the play come in. Go ahead and they go run the play 30 seconds later. Okay. What about a no huddle? Can you think about that? Think that the linemen and all the players, the receivers can remember 3 plays in a row? You know, the 2-minute drill. Go that way. The Eagles wouldn't have had to be able to switch out defensive players. If you're going ahead with a no huddle, you're coming right back up the line, and maybe you catch them by surprise. Maybe you get a quick snap count. All right. Did the Chiefs do that? No. They went ahead and just took their time of day, and they basically ran themselves out of time. By the time the third quarter was done, the game was over. You know, no matter how much they score in the remaining minutes that they have, they're not going to win the game. So game management, and that's on Andy Reid and his offensive coaches. Why did you do that? Think out of the box. What do you need to do? No huddle would have helped them. They would have been able to run more plays. And again, with the rollouts, it might have given them more opportunities. All right. So when you look at this game and you look at it from a Chiefs perspective, a fan's perspective, it's like they were pretty much not willing to make any changes to be able to the game plan. And like I said, I would have thought about, you have a weak line. It's leaking like a sieve, and it has been for a while, so you have people out of position. All right. So in the 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, with that weak line, why don't you assume that the Eagles are going to go right through it and they're going to get to Mahomes? So why not the Chiefs defense practice blitzing against Mahomes where he has no time and practice the rollouts? Maybe practice blocking schemes so he can actually see downfield and get a couple seconds more where he can make a completion, change some of the routes, come up with some plays that can basically work. It didn't happen. So, it's just... To me, it just makes sense to be able, as a coach, to be able to think and be able to work out a solution when something like has happened instead of just waiting. Because by the time we got down to the third quarter, the Chiefs, the body language was already like they were going to lose. They were walking around, they were moping, things were not happening, and that's pretty sad to see in a Super Bowl, the most important game. They go through all the season to get to the Super Bowl, and then they play a stinker of a Super Bowl. All right, and Patrick Mahomes, he's going to need to learn how to get that ball out of his hands faster. All right, he can't take 3 to 4 or 5 seconds to be able to throw that ball, and he can't expect to be able to, with all the linemen coming in, to be able to just waddle his way, and that's what I say with him. He doesn't run, he waddles through the middle to be able to get first downs. They can't depend on that. If you want to see somebody, a quarterback who knows how to do that, Joe Burrows. Watch him pass the ball. Man, he's got pass out of that offensive formation in about 2 seconds, and it's to a receiver, and he's got great receivers right now. So I think Patrick Mahomes needs to improve. They say, hey, he's the best quarterback's ever played. Well, that might be true, but that doesn't mean that you can't change some of the things that you're doing to be more effective. I think Mahomes needs time to set. He needs time to be able to go downfield and look and see whether he can throw a long ball, and it's taking too much time for that. He needs more darts that are going close 10-yard, 15-yard passes to speedy receivers, which will have Rashid Rice back next year, and a number of things going on. So he needs to practice that. He needs to start a mindset to change that up, because if he doesn't, it's going to run into the same problem. I mean, do you really think the Chiefs are going to find basically 2 offensive tackles that are all pros and be able to sign them and be able to book in their team so they don't have this problem anymore? I don't think so. I don't think they will. So, they're going to have to make some major changes. They're going to have to cut some major players to be able to make that happen, so they have the money to be able to sign a decent defensive tackle, a left side and a right side. So that's my opinion on the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. It was frustrating, but you know what? You move on. You can improve yourself, and Brett Veach has a whole off season now to figure out how to make improvements on a team that definitely now needs improvements. All right, well, that's my video for the night. Thank you for joining me once again. If you like the video, please give me a like, and if you would like, please subscribe. You have a good night. We'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.